Hello and welcome to Further Together.
Enriching relationships, creating a better future.
Yeah, you're right. It's your friends here, Kudzi and Priscilla. What happened? I think it just froze.
We know. I think, yeah,
Oh,
we are on. Yeah. Yes, guys, thank you for joining us on yet another episode on Further Together. We do apologize for starting 3 minutes late. We were having some technical issues, but thank God we are here and nothing will stop tonight.
yeah. In Africa, they say nobody can stop reggae.
That's right.
So
That's
if you're
right.
just joining us, if it's your first time, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for passing by. We hope you'll be a regular and you also share with friends to share with friends, which is very important.
Yeah.
If you are a regular here, we want to say thank you so much for trusting the content that you do share here. And we would like you to share with friends so that they benefit from what we do share here. Mostly every Thursday. If you can like and follow the page, we will be so much happy to have you as the Further Together family. Right now, could you just share with friends? Because tonight is a very, very special guest, and we are having a very exciting topic. How do you say the topic?
The weight of waiting.
Okay.
The weight of waiting. So, what does it actually feel like to wait? And this is a critical one. And just to say that singles, we've got you covered. Those that are waiting on God for their spouses, we've got you covered. And tonight will be your night. So, do kindly share with a friend, share with family, or you might not be waiting on God for a spouse, but in whatever capacity that you find yourself waiting, the weight can be so much on you when you're waiting. But we have Minister Shammah with us this evening. But I think before we even go into the topic, would love to get to know Minister Shammah a bit more. What's her type? So in case some of those guys are watching tonight, tonight will be that night that you get to know.
So she is a musician by call, a minister of God, an author, a mother, a preacher of the gospel, as well as what did I say?
She's an author.
As well as a blogger. Yeah. So you
She's a mentor of mentors.
Yes, you are a we're going to treat you tonight.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome Minister Shammah. Minister Shammah, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Doing better than yesterday. We want to start by saying happy birthday. It was your birthday on Tuesday.
Yes. Thank you.
How does it feel to be a year older?
It feels exciting. I'm very expectant for this year. Many plans, many dreams, many ideas. So I'm excited.
Wonderful. We're going to go straight into the game just to get to know you a little bit more. So this is a would you rather kind of game. Would you rather date a celebrity or
just a normal person?
A normal person. Absolutely. 100%.
Would you rather talk to them?
Sorry, would I rather
talk or text?
Talk.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Would you rather a guy that asks for help or that can figure out things on their own?
A man who can figure out things on his own, please. In context, but yeah.
Wonderful. Would you rather a funny guy or a really smart guy?
Jokes don't build the home. A smart guy.
Wonderful. Would you rather have a public or a private proposal?
Private.
Private. Would you rather have a huge wedding or just get a marriage license?
A huge wedding, I think.
Yay! Tall or short?
Tall or short?
Yeah.
Tall. I like to wear heels. So yeah.
Beards or emoji?
Sorry?
Beards. Would you rather have somebody with beards, or you'd rather have an emoji, a plain one, no beards?
A beard.
So guys, if you're watching and you are like me, Minister Shammah is saying, you know what? If you don't have beards, if you're not beards gang, then you're an emoji. I don't like it.
Wonderful. Okay, so I think we're gonna have to end it here before we go even deeper into it. But tonight we're talking about the weight of actually waiting. And I think it would be great for you to just share a bit of your experience. What has it been like? How does it feel for you waiting on God for a spouse?
Wow, okay. I think if I'm to be honest, it's been a up and down journey. And I think I'm currently in a season where I'm at peace and I'm okay and I'm comfortable and I'm happy and I'm not feeling rushed or anything. But it's definitely been an up and down journey. The downs being feeling like, okay, has God forgotten about me? Why are all the candidates coming either not serious, or if they're serious, why are they still not the one? You know, maybe watching people around you get engaged or around me get engaged, or certain comments from certain people, maybe where there's an expectation for you to get married. So I would say that it's been up and down, but I'm definitely in a very, very comfortable place right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? You are somebody that is mentoring and coaching other women as well, other girls as well. And what does it feel like for them? Obviously, you're at a level where you have matured and you can wait, you know, believing and trusting God. But there's some people that are anxious in waiting, and they feel like time is just slipping through my fingers, and I don't know, before you know it, a year is ended. How does it actually feel for them?
Honestly, out in the streets right now, women are frustrated. Like you said, they're very, 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 very anxious. And anxious to the point where they're willing to sabotage their own destinies, just so they can say that they are a wife. I think for a lot of the women, it is this milestone of the age of 30 that I find to be quite common, in the sense that they're approaching 30, or they are 30, or they've passed 30 and they still don't have a husband. And a lot of them are wondering, okay, so what is wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? Am I cursed? Why are the men not seeing me? Or why are the ones that are seeing me only wanting to use me? So the streets are very, very, very frustrated right now, if I'm to be honest. A lot of my sessions, women are throwing these questions at me, and I'm having to give them the mind of God and the heart of God, and remind them that, you know what, no matter how long you're waiting or you've been waiting, the principles of God, they still stand. And just walking them or helping them to walk through that journey. So yeah, it's, the weight is heavy. You know, the title of the show is The Weight of Waiting. And for a lot of women, dare I say 99% of the women that I do speak to in my one-to-one sessions, the weight is almost unbearable.
It's not easy. The weight is quite heavy, as you have just said. I know, you know, I waited, and our one was waiting the tougher way, a long distance. Yeah, we waited in our relationship. We were already in a relationship, but you know, in two different continents. So I can imagine for those who are waiting and they are hoping for somebody to come.
And I just want to, you know, as well, talk about, is it the same with the guys as well? Does waiting actually feel the same for guys, or is it just us women,
It's heavier for women.
is it more heavier for women than it is for men?
I think it's heavier for women than it is for men, because ultimately women are the ones who are pursued, right? I would say maybe 8 out of 10 women would not approach a man, if that makes sense. Or from the type of women that I deal with, they're not going to approach a man. They're not going to tell a man they're interested. They're not even going to tell a man they think is good looking. They're waiting to be approached. They're waiting to be found. And so when you're the one who's waiting, right, it's like you're waiting for a bus. When the bus comes, it comes when it wants to come, right? You can't you can't click your finger and say, bus, I want you now, and the bus appears. You move according to the timetable or the mood of the bus, right? And so I think that it's harder for women, especially church women, Christian women. I think it's a lot harder for us. Men do the choosing. Men may have a hard time choosing. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not really privy to that side of things or the conversations. But I know that women, it's like, okay, where are all the good guys at? And also, I think in church, you find that women outnumber men. And so you can have 10, 15, 20 single sisters and one single brother Mark, you know, who comes. And if brother Mark decides he doesn't want any of the women in the church, that's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's spoiled for choice. Whereas the women, they're waiting, almost like, okay, please pick me. You know, it's almost a silent competition type of thing going on. So I think it's harder for women when we look at it practically and realistically. But waiting is waiting. You know, there's still some difficulty involved there, because I would like to believe that on the flip side, for a true godly man, maybe it is hard to find a true godly woman. Do you know what I mean? I hear a lot of godly men saying they don't just want church women. They don't just want a pastor's wife. They want a wife, a woman, a friend. And maybe they're not finding that. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
What's the most difficult part? Because if you go on Instagram, you see that men are there, ladies are there, the ones with beards, they're right there, and they're saying, I'm looking for girls. They're ever hunting, they're on a hunt. And so what makes it difficult, and what makes it more harder?
What makes it harder? Okay, I think I'll speak personally first, and then I'll just touch on what I hear or see in sessions. I think personally for me, I've started to call it, I was joking with my friend the other day, and I've started to call it the spirit of almost the one. So this is when a guy comes and he ticks some really, really good and interesting boxes. And then one or two things that I've maybe considered to be major, he's not even anywhere near the box. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, how can you be this almost amazing, or this funny, this kind, this prayerful even? You're even in ministry, but then these things that I maybe consider to be fundamentals, you're not interested in them, or even applying them or growing into them. And it's like, okay, I think it would be easier if maybe like men who are not even born again are approaching, because absolutely not. But it's almost painful and frustrating when they love God, they serve him, they tithe, they can preach, they can pray for the sick, and the sick are healed. But then, for example, they have an anger issue and they think it's okay, you know, or they, I don't know, they think that there's something such as small lies, white lies. Oh, it's not a big deal, you know, or they're okay with getting drunk once in a while, you know. And it's like, right, why did you have to be so amazing up until a certain point? So that would be for me. For the majority of the females that I encounter, I think it's social media pressure. Honestly, I think if we did not have social media, life would be a lot easier for a lot of people. There would be nothing to compare yourself to. There would be nothing to feel like you're inferior to. You know, every day somebody goes viral, and if you look at the number one type of content that is consumed by people, that people are obsessed by, is more than business, more than other things that can build your life, it is couples. A couple can be sitting there staring at each other or giggling, and the video will go viral. Do you know what I mean? A couple can just decide to wear the same colors, and the video will go viral. Do you know what I mean? And so when you have all of these things thrown in your face constantly, you begin to ask yourself questions. What about me? You know, do people see me? There are millions of people on social media. There are thousands of people following me, or hundreds. Nobody sees me. So I think social media makes it hard. It puts pressure. It makes you feel like you have to move to a certain schedule, a certain speed. But that may not be God's will for your life. So
that is just so
that's very true. You know, sometimes with these filters and all that, you tend to wonder that am I the only ugly person in this world? Am I the only one with these pimples and all this stuff? But lo and behold, when you meet for event face to face, then you're wondering, and you know. But there is definitely pressure on social media, and Cynthia Masiwa says that social media go kill us. So
it proper go kill us. And I remember sometime you were asking us, and you were saying, do you guys ever fight? You know, do you guys argue? Like, because what you see on social media is what you see, right?
Priscilla wearing pink and pink, wearing black and black. But you know,
we are really not gonna go on social media and start our fights on social media. That's what it is.
Otherwise, we are mad.
It's only a very small percentage of people that post a portion of their reality. You know what I mean?
And even what we call reality shows are not actually reality; they are active.
I think if we really saw, if we really saw what was behind closed doors, we would realize that my singlehood is a blessing. Because I remember when I was married, and I was explaining this to my mentees last summer, I think, in one of our class sessions, and I was saying that it was almost when I was married, right, and obviously things were a bit hectic and, you know, not as healthy, and it was almost like the more unhealthy things became in the marriage, the more I posted on social media. That was my escape. That was my comfort. I was like, you know what? At least these people, they don't really know what's happening. And, you know, it's almost like a drug. You just feed off it. But meanwhile, things beneath the surface are rotting, you know? So I always say take social media with a pinch of salt. It's not everything is as it seems, trust me. Not everything is as it seems. And even the couples, for example, like I believe you guys are a healthy couple. I love you guys. Even you guys who are inspirational and who are marriage counselors, you have days when you are angry at each other. Do you know what I mean? People will be so shocked to believe that. But for as long as you're human, you're gonna have moods. You're gonna have disagreements, and we need to remember that.
Definitely. Now there's this school of thought I have heard from most young people that when waiting becomes very heavy, just go and get him wherever he is, even though he doesn't tick the boxes. We'll pray him to where I want him to be. So even if he smokes weed, it's his daily bread. I don't care, as long as he's tall, he got beards, he got the swag. I will pray him to church. He will become a pastor one day. From your experience, how possible is that?
I would say maybe like minus 100. People, I used to think that way, and it's because in my mind I thought I would get married, and then I thought life would stop and stand still for me, make time and room for me to pray. We catch up, then we move on. It does not work like that. And we need to understand that marriage was designed to work in a specific way. And that way is the man being the head of the wife, right? The man covering the wife. And I remember one thing my spiritual father said to me. He was like, Shammah, if it's raining, are you going to go and get an umbrella with holes and stitch it while you're walking in the rain? Or you're just going to get an umbrella that's solid and that works from the very beginning? And that's what we try to do. It does not work. It's impossible. If many women are honest who are in home. They're honest about the realities of that, of trying to drag a man to the cross, to drag a man to integrity, to drag a man to patience and communication and accountability and faithfulness and soberness. It is one of the most draining things that you can do. And this is where I say to women, you need to think of your children. You need to think of your children's children, because you cannot calculate how long it's going to take for that person to transform. I'm not saying, okay, it's not impossible a person can transform. There's a slight chance, but the majority of men and women, they don't change. They just become worse. And so let's say it takes you 20 years and then finally he gets saved or he becomes a proper man at the age of 20, and your children are 18, 17, 16 years old. They haven't been raised by the man who got saved after 20 years. They haven't seen an example of love, right? That's beginning to take place now that they're adults. No, they've been shaped by that dysfunction. They've been shaped, if they're daughters, to think that, okay, you have to do Bob the Builder when it comes to a man. They've been shaped, if they're sons, to think that, okay, who I am and what I am, I don't have to work on myself. A woman should, for example, maybe come and serve me and fix me, and, you know, I'm just enough as I am as a man, right? And you've then created generational trauma. You know, we talk about generational curses. There's generational dysfunction. There's generational foolishness. You've created generational trauma. And my question is that fair? If you think back to some of the things you wish maybe your parents did or didn't do, is it fair to do that to your children? Do you know what I mean? So even if there is a slight chance somebody can change, there's no guarantee as to how long it's going to take. There's no guarantee as to how much damage is going to be done in the process of that transformation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't advise anyone to do it.
I like what my mentor says, that what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And in marriage only exposes the weaknesses that were already there.
Yeah.
So things that you can't stand, that you can't bear or deal with while you're dating,
don't take them.
Don't take it.
Yeah.
It's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
You know, this thing of I'm going to change him, I'm going to do that to her. It may just never happen, and you may just spend your whole life in tears.
Yeah.
And now we have people, they feel that they are older. You know, they feel like I've been waiting for so long. And we may, you know, just believe that the longer you wait, the longer the weight becomes heavier, because, you know, you're believing more with each year that, you know, God's going to send me a spouse, and probably that spouse hasn't come through yet. So is there anything such as waiting too long?
Well, how long is long anyway? According to the girls whom we normally mentor.
Okay, I'll answer Mr. Kofi's question first. How long is long? To be honest, I've never heard of in terms of like, okay, I've waited for 2 years or 3 years. It's more so an age thing. It's an age thing, and it's a comparison thing. The moment that 4 out of 5 of my friends have gotten engaged, I'm already uncomfortable. Speaking on behalf of the women, they're already uncomfortable, right? So even if they've already been waiting 6 months or a year, the fact that everybody around them is engaged, for them, right, I've been waiting too long. There's an illusion created. And then obviously the age thing. Sorry, Mrs. Kofi, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, older people are feeling like I've waited too long. Is there anything such as too long in waiting?
In waiting, right? I would say yes and no. The only reason I would say, okay, I'm not sure which one to address first. Okay, let's go with a yes. I would say it can be a yes. I believe very, very strongly and greatly in the spiritual side of things in life, right? And I believe that the spiritual world controls the physical world. And so one thing we have to be aware of is, for example, family patterns. If I, for example, look in my family and I see that no woman has ever got married. People just maybe bear children, give birth to children, but no one has ever gotten married. Or every time someone's about to get married, something happens and the engagement is broken off. And it's a consistent cycle. This means mom, tete, auntie, grandmother, the whole bloodline. God can have a plan, but if those maybe curses or those patterns haven't been addressed in prayer, fasted about, broken. Maybe somebody made a vow or a covenant in the bloodline. It's possible for me to wait too long. Does that make sense? It's possible for me to be up against something that's bigger than just, you know, something I see with my physical eyes. But in the same breath, I also said no, because a lot of times we think we're waiting on God to send us someone, and God is waiting on us. If as a woman, I believe or I don't understand that God created me for a number of other things before he created me for marriage, and my focus is I'm waiting to be married, I am going to wait for a very long time until God accomplishes what he wants to do with me and in me. We were created to worship. We were created for intimacy. We were created for purpose. When you introduced me at the beginning, you listed a few of the things I'm doing or I've done. I've written books. I preach. I minister. I mentor. If I had the mentality that I want to get married, and I ignored the season where God was prompting me to pray more because he wanted to download my books to me, and I refused to set up a mentorship program because maybe I thought only when I'm married, that's the time when I have something valuable to say to women. I would wait, you know, because God needs to accomplish his purposes. And I feel like we often delay our marriages or our time because we haven't allowed God to have his perfect way within us. Do you know what I mean? We haven't allowed him to do what he wants to do. There are many people who have assignments that should have been completed years ago. They should be on their 25th assignment by now, you know, but they're just waiting for a husband. And maybe God is too kind to send you that husband because he wants to develop you so you can be a proper blessing to him. But the only way you can be a proper blessing is if you've gone through certain things by yourself in your assignment. Do you know what I mean? In your own individual identity with God. So I would say yes, in terms of the spiritual side, but more often than not, no. Have you allowed God to do what he wants to do?
And in that light, do you then think that there is a right way of waiting and the wrong way of waiting?
I say yes, only because I've definitely waited wrong in the past.
Tell us about that.
I think a wrong way to wait would be a place where obviously you obsess about a husband, if that makes sense. It's your only prayer point. It's the only thing you think about, the only thing you dream about. When you see other engagements, it's either you're jealous or angry in your heart. You know, it's your God, it's your idol. I also think that a wrong way to wait is serial dating. I know the world thinks it's okay, kind of date as you go until you bump into the one. But as Christians, I don't know if that's the way we're meant to do it. I don't disagree with going on a date once in a while. But I think if you're going on serial dates, you probably don't have a standard yet. Or you probably haven't drawn a measuring stick as to the type of man who should come. Because there's surely no way every man can meet, you know, what should be your godly standard. I think the right way to wait is to read. That's one thing I recommend to all of my mentees. And especially when they start complaining, I ask them, okay, in the last year, tell me a book you read on marriage. I haven't really. You're bored. Go and read a book. And I thought I knew a lot about marriage until I started reading about marriage from people who had been married. And I was like, I found myself even arguing with what was in the book. I said, this is irritating me. And that was a sign that there was still something God wanted to do within me. If we read more books, we'd realize what our gaps are, what our blind spots are. Number 2, get lost in your purpose with God. Get lost in your purpose with God. Unfortunately, people think that purpose is like an event. So you wake up today and you discover it and then you run off with it. Purpose is something that unravels step by step as you walk with God, which means if you're not walking with him, you're never going to be able to discover your purpose. The creator of a thing is the one who knows how that thing should be used, right? And what that thing should do. And so getting lost in your purpose, I think it was at the age of 22, 23 when I met my spiritual father. I thought that I had discovered my whole entire purpose, right? because I was having maybe certain encounters with God, and my prayer life had increased and stuff like that. And I thought that was it. And maybe it's now almost 6, 7, 8 years later, and I realized that I hadn't even touched the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what I didn't know until I realized that, yeah, I really didn't know. That's the only way that I can explain it. And my question to a lot of the women who think they've waited too long, have you really, really lost yourself in the purpose and the assignment that God has for you? There was a season in my life, Mr. and Mrs. Kofi, where I'd wake up, get ready, blah, blah. Or if I have a day off, I would say to God, God, let's go on an adventure. Or God, give me somebody to speak to. And I'll leave my house and walk around out in the community. And God would send me into the laundrette. I've prophesied to a woman in the laundrette before. I've sang a worship song to a woman at a bus stop before. And that's something that my mind couldn't even fathom a few years ago. But when I felt like I'd reached a peak, I said, God, there's a song that says, Lord, I know that there is more in you. I kept asking for more. Do you know what I mean? Okay, God, give me more. What more have you called me to do? What more can you teach me? And my question is, have you allowed God to teach you everything that he wants to teach you? You know? Number 4, 3, 4, 5, I would say get some sort of mentor or mentors in your life. I'm grateful for you guys because I tell you guys all my things. But I just think that if you want to get married one day, start asking questions from now. Have people you can vet your dates by from now. Have people you can observe and emulate and say, okay, this is godly, this is biblical. I want to be a woman like Mrs. Kofi. It's not enough to just like Mrs. Kofi's picture. How do you become a woman like her? Sit down and talk to her. Ask her questions. Call her. Sis, I have this issue. How, as a virtuous woman, should I approach this? And you know what's so interesting? We want to rush to be wives, not realizing that wives, you can't be a wife unless you're a woman first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't just wake up. There isn't like a separate creature called a wife. No. Wives are from women. And I just wonder if we've discovered the totality of our womanhood, everything God wants to do and use it for. You know, so I would say study, learn, grow, develop yourself, and pray as well. When I was younger, I definitely didn't pray as much about a future husband. I just thought if we like each other, it's cool. But now I'm older, I've been burnt. I see what's really going on out there, how bad it can get, how good it can get. I pray and I fast. Every 16th of the month, I fast for my future husband once a month.
Oh, he is so blessed.
I shut down from the world and I fast specifically for him in our marriage. The things I know are issues within me still at the moment, the things I don't want to see or sniff in him, you know, in the days to come. And I fast and I prepare that way as well. No, I think those would be some of my tips. And also another thing as well, have good friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Very important.
our friends can even get in the way of what we're reading and the mentors we have. Have good friends. Don't have friends who encourage you in your foolishness. Don't have friends who encourage you to continue being a rebellious somebody, just hoping a man's going to come and take your nonsense. Because these days, men aren't taking it. That's one thing I realized. Men aren't tolerating it, okay? Have good, sound Christian friends. But yeah, there's more, but I think that's enough.
I think you have shared quite a lot. And shout out to future husband who may watch this later or who's watching it right now. You're getting prayed for like every 16th day of the month. That is a blessing. That is so powerful.
It is indeed a powerful foundation of where you want to go, because sometimes we want to pray because things have taken, you know, a different shape. So better for us now to get into the habit, you know, preparing where we want to go. There's some brothers, my brothers are watching right now, and you know, they're asking, you wanna bump with the big boys? What word of advice can you give to the guys who are also waiting and they're thinking You girls are playing hard
Hard
to
to
get.
get.
You
Yeah.
girls are being too spiritual. You are over
Yeah.
exaggerating.
And
Your
sometimes they
boxes
think,
are too
yeah, the too
many.
many boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. So your
Mm.
word of advice from and on behalf of the girls.
Word of advice. I would say your feelings are valid. To be very honest, I think personally I've gone on a journey of having like a million boxes to realizing that actually some of my boxes are like unhealed places within me, and I've had to reduce, as I've read and talked to you guys and stuff like that. But I would say don't give up the fight. I think honestly, men should pray. I
Yeah.
believe men find their wives in the place of prayer. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? In the same way, was it Abraham's servant
Yeah.
who was sent to find a wife for Isaac, and he prayed,
Mhm.
he asked
Yeah.
God for a private sign, and God confirmed it. If you are an upright, godly man, God will provide you with a wife. Don't be praying for a virtuous woman when you know that you're an armed robber. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, for as long as you're a godly man, I would say, God will send you your wife in due course. Stay the course. The one will appear. Do you know what I mean? It's either she will come from afresh from somewhere, or your eyes will be open to see that wait, she's actually always been around me. If you feel that a woman has too many boxes or she's playing hard to get, and you believe she's the one, I think that love conquers all things. For a lot of women, we haven't had men who are very consistent. We've been lied to. We've been told all the sweet nothings and some things, and we're just tired. We're just over it. You know, especially church men. I'm so sorry. And so, if you know that you're an upright man and you think you found the one, persist. Not in a stalkerish way. Persist gently. You stand out. Women notice consistency. We may not say it to you, but I'll be texting Mrs. Cofield or my friend like, this guy is he's consistent, you know, sis. What do you think? You know what I mean? So we do notice more than you think we do. So keep going. Keep sliding the DMs. And when you're sliding the DMs, since we're here, please
Yes.
come with meat and depth. This business of hi, what's up, Dave, yo, we're not replying. Come with something of depth. You know, last year, I think it was, there's a man who bought my book, read it, and then used it as a discussion point to discuss with me. I mean, he ended up not being the one. But do you see
That kind of stole your heart.
do you
Yeah.
see the levels? Not the hi, what are you up to? Every day you're asking me, what are you up to? Come with, you know, teach me something. Be funny, you know. But no, don't give up the fight and the hope. And also another thing as well, yes, there's a standard. Yes, God is gonna come through, but your feelings are not invalid. And I think sometimes, I don't want to say the church, but sometimes in Christianity, it can just be wait on the Lord, wait on the Lord. We don't want to hear you. You know what I mean? But your feelings are valid. Your frustrations are valid. Your worry about your age or your body clock is valid. You know what I mean? I just hope we all find safe places to express those things to. Do you know what I mean? Those emotions too. Because when you don't have a safe place to express your frustration, the enemy will give you a place. You know, he'll give you a bed, he'll give you a bottle, he'll give you some powder, he'll give you a safe place, but it's not a godly place. You know. So yeah, guys, wait well. We want to
Eat
come to
well.
But Pastor Glennon says, "Brothers, be relentless." I know him. That he was very relentless. You know, pushing the boundaries. And right now he got married. He's with his beautiful wife. So talking from experience, right there.
Absolutely. In closing, there are women, there are girls out there with a lot of fears, and one of the fears is I am getting old.
Time is ticking.
Time is ticking. Will I ever find the right one that will tick the boxes? Or will I ever find a godly man? You know, so many fears. We just want you to speak a word to them.
Wow. Okay. I'm gonna say several things. In the New Testament, there's a story of Peter. And Jesus Christ commands him to come out of the boat. He steps out of the boat and he begins to walk to Jesus. And then when he realizes and notices the wind, the water, the waves, the Bible says he began to sink. And then obviously Jesus rescues him. And one thing that I've realized in this life is that you cannot walk in peace, in stability, in hope, in strength, in whatever, if your eyes are off Jesus. It's not possible. Some people may say, oh, you're being too deep. Let's be realistic. No. If you're a Christian, that means Christ is your head. He's your life. You cannot have peace if your eyes are off him.
Yep.
And so I've learned to make my prayer, Lord, help me keep my eyes on you. People are going to say things. Culture is going to say things. Social media is going to say things. But help me to keep my eyes on you. Number 2, another thing my spiritual father taught me, he taught me that where you're going or what you're currently facing should determine your posture. The way I posture myself when I'm going to a party is different from the way I posture myself when I'm going to a funeral.
Yeah.
The way I posture myself if I'm being chased by a dog is different from the way I posture myself if I am at a farm or at the zoo. Completely different conditions. And I think my biggest advice is analyze your situation, where you are, right? What is it that you're dealing with? Is it loneliness? Is it pressure from society? Is it insecurity? Whatever it is, write that thing down and make it a prayer target and a prayer point. I speak to so many women and they'll be like, oh, I've waited too long and whatever. Or for example, I'm heartbroken or I feel like I'll never recover from this or this. And I'm like, why don't you spend every day for the next month praying about the same thing? Knocking relentlessly on heaven's door and see what happens. Like, see what happens. More often than not, we don't do that. We pray today, then we just hope for the best. I have learned to bullseye on the same thing until I hear a response. Whether the response is
yes, no, or wait.
Yeah, whether it's yes, he's coming or wait or whatever, I've learned to bullseye. I'm going to share something very quickly just before we go. After I got divorced, after my marriage ended, I remember one of the number one fears that the enemy was tormenting me with was, who's ever going to want to marry a woman who has children? I was so terrified of that. I never said it to anyone. But inside my mind, daily, it tormented me greatly. And I went on a fast. I went on a 21-day fast. There's a ministry in America who happened to be doing a marriage fast. I said, let me just join this church anyway, so I have strength and encouragement. I did a 21-day fast. And during the first 3 days, God gave me 3 dreams about my future marriage. And then the fast finished. But I said to myself, I said, you know what, Lord? Maybe because I'm emotionally invested in this, I'm dreaming what I want to see. And I'm thinking and I'm hearing what I want. Can you confirm it? And I tuned into a Facebook live stream. And there was a man of God who was preaching and teaching. And then at the end, he ended in giving prophecy and words of knowledge. And he called out my name and he confirmed all 3 of my dreams. And I was suddenly at peace. But I had to go and knock on heaven's door. I have no doubt if I hadn't gone to wrestle with God about that particular thing, I'd probably still be wondering today, moving like a headless chicken, wondering, afraid. But God gave me an answer. And I know that because he gave me that answer, I'm now free to do whatever, other things, knowing at the back of my mind that a time is coming when he will fulfill his promise. So wrestle for a promise, God will come through for you. If he has given you the desire for a husband, he will provide one, but he will provide one in his timing. Don't take shortcuts. Don't try to put things in your own hands. God will come through for you.
Yeah, don't take the matters in your hands. God will definitely come through. I like the word of God in the book of Habakkuk, which says, though it may tarry, it will surely come. Keep on waiting. So if you wait, he is a rewarder. God will definitely give you what you're waiting for. Who is watching right now tonight? Mr. Madzikatire joining us from South Africa. Thank you so much. Ivani Kureva, Pastor Gladys, Cynthia Masiwa, Tarilene Shikota, Jabu Sibia. These are some of the people who are watching, and we know there are some who may be watching, and those who watch as a replay. We want to say thank you very much for tuning in. Minister Shammah, you can get her on Facebook as Shammah Gara, or you can go on Shammah Gara Ministries. You can also see her on Instagram as
the Handwritings of Heaven. If you type Shammah Gara, you get her. She's all over social media. She's gone viral, in fact. Go and find her.
As well as on TikTok. So if you are waiting and you feel that the weight is too much on you, find somebody to talk to, find somebody to encourage you. And Minister Shammah is right there for you. She will be there to pray together with you, together with other women, other ladies who are waiting. So don't die in silence.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Minister Shammah, for affording us this precious moment, for sharing your experience, as well as sharing the heart of God with us and with our viewers. We will have you again as and when we need you. We love you so much, and thank you all our viewers for tuning in tonight. Do share the broadcast.
Once again, happy birthday. What more shall we say apart from saying thank you so much to our viewers? God bless you. Till we meet again, Kuds and Priscilla, we're signing out.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.